Board of Education for February 18th, 2020. We've already done the pledge. Do you have any delegations for us this evening? All right, this takes us to the superintendent's update.
A couple of things, Mr. President, under the curriculum, and I'll let Donna speak to it. Just to give her active role this morning, and I thought it was excellent. We signed an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding with Pierpont. There was an actual signing this morning that will allow our students to be included in the junior year, which will also allow them to get 2 years of the airframe. Power,
spend all day, I ain't gonna spend all day.
power pad, what was it?
So they could get HVAC, and the engine, and the.
HVAC, airframe. Airframe.
Oh, I'm sorry, sheet metal, sheet metal.
Honest,
Sheet metal.
honest, Joe.
What kind of metal?
Sheet metal.
Why don't you tell them exactly what we did this morning, Donna?
Power plant, engine, and sheet metal. We signed an MOU this morning that, currently, our students can leave their senior year, and can be enrolled in that program. So these requirements, would drop it down to that junior year. They can get, dual credit, from it as well. And then when they graduate in June, as early as December, after they graduate, they can, have the opportunity to set for 2 FAA tests and, be employable for $40,000 a year.
So they can take these classes starting their junior year,
Yes,
get their certificates in December after they graduate,
correct.
and be working January,
Earning $40,000 a year.
earning $40,000 a year.
Yeah,
That's outstanding.
yeah.
That is exactly what I envisioned when we work together with industry in our local area.
And debt-free,
It-
of course, through the opportunities that they have. So, it was a wonderful, signing, and pairing together. They're hopping up there.
Good.
And, it's a good opportunity for our students.
And
Starting as soon as 8th grade in Harrison County Schools.
Mitsubishi
Good.
is buying out Bombardier.
Really?
And yes, and they immediately have 100 jobs available now.
Correct.
We envision, when I say we, Mid-Atlantic Complex, Aerospace Complex, Tracy Miller, we envision somewhere between 500 and 750 jobs, new jobs created.
Yes.
We're talking about good paying jobs that will only require some of the things that we've just talked about today. And we're giving them 2 years based on what we signed this morning.
Yes,
So as Donna says, that one additional semester, not additional year.
correct.
They walk across the stage in June, they enroll in Pierpont in August,
Yeah.
they graduate in December, they were able to sit for the FAA certification,
Of the test.
the 2 of the test, and for all intents and purposes, the part of the agreement is they'll hire them.
That's
And like I said, 40 grand, like she said, 40 grand, but in Brad was telling me, I don't know, unlimited overtime, because
Yes.
they're looking
Oh,
for.
that's a big,
They are looking for people, so it's conceivable, if you're a hustler,
Yeah.
you get 60, 70 grand at 19 years old, 20 years old. I mean, what greater gift can this Board of Education give to a student or any parent?
I'll tell you, we can take that framework and we can put it onto some of the other industries
No, we're going to.
in this area.
We're going to.
Oil and gas, linemen for Mon Power.
Healthcare.
Healthcare, coding, take it
Artificial
and do.
intelligence.
Yeah, take it and do the same framework and hit those needs.
Well, we have a
I
template.
think that's excellent.
We have created a template.
Yes, we have.
And that I think is incredibly beneficial. And we're going to continue to build upon this, that we're going to make your school, for all intents and purposes, very practical. We'll give them the basics, but in core subjects, but more and more, we're going to be focusing on CTE. That's the way of the future,
Through collaboration with industry. That's the
through
big-
collaboration. So, Mr. President, members of the board, that was what we did this morning, and I think tomorrow was some kind of story, but they were there. I think it was an excellent day. So,
Well done.
When's your plane being delivered?
well, actually, I was going to bring that to you tonight as part of my update. I think, what was it? It's a couple $100 grand should
That's
take
all.
care of it.
Absolutely.
Oh, then, hey, you're in like a.
And I appreciate the way you jumped all over that. this
That's
morning.
right, hey.
Mr. President, under facilities, I want to recognize Mr. Lopez, who will talk to us about, well, there's a couple things going on, and the CFP met the other night, and then kind of get everybody up to date on where we are with the other two projects.
The next CEFP meeting is scheduled for March the 9th, 6 o'clock. We met last week and really had a good meeting, was able to go over a lot of the building evaluations. We're still waiting on some of the information to roll over into Dude Solutions, and that will give us a better idea to emphasize the accurate assessment of our facilities. But each member that was in attendance the other night had an opportunity to go over all the areas that were assessed in the building by McKinley, and it was really a good meeting. We had some illness by some of our members that was not able to attend, but it was a good meeting. I look for things to really begin to speed up at our next meeting in March, because that information is coming through, which will give the opportunity to truly get our priority list and complete the financial assessment and be able to put together a final copy to get to you all to approve.
When do you think that will come about? March, April?
Yeah, we're in we should be close to the third phase, so.
Okay.
You should get your first in April.
Okay.
Yeah, in the May meeting. We're ahead of the game. And I know I've said that a lot, but I would rather be ahead. The School Building Authority, this is the first time that they have really put this online. And so the way they've changed it it's been a little bit of a work in progress, which is going well, but some of the timelines that the state has rolled out we're actually ahead of those timelines, and they're not able to get the information from Dude Solutions. So we're doing well. We should be ready to get the final, piece of this approved in July.
Okay.
All right.
And what is our status on the Lost Creek project?
The engineers were out today to visit the facility, look at the HVAC and some of the mechanical equipment. And Tom has promised that he will get a cost assessment and a schematic out before the end of the week.
Good. That'll get, and then the approval process is that the first approval has to be the schematics. And once that's approved, then we'll start working on design development, DD phases, and I hope, we're still shooting for late spring, early summer, dirt getting moved out there. Status of the Gore project.
Well, we've had several inquiries about the qualifications for the job, and so Joe and I've been sending that information out to several members, and they have scheduled a few site visits. So Joe and Roger Romaine, that knows a lot about the HVAC equipment, we're meeting with one firm on Monday, and so they're going to go through, take a look at the facility. So, in early March, we should have a list of those qualified candidates that would like to interview for that design of the building, and Dr. Manchin will work directly with us on that.
Do you foresee more than one company bidding on it?
Well, I think it's a good job. I believe that, I think we've had enough interest that I believe that.
Okay, because I know on the last project, there was all these people showed interest, and then in the end, only one.
No, you're talking about the construction. We're talking about the architect, E&I.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're looking at the architect.
Okay.
Thank you, Jimmy. Mr. President, that's all I have for the superintendent's update. I think Kristen, probably we don't have a whole lot to discuss with the career technical service. So, Mr. President, that's all we have.
Okay. Thank you very much. This brings us down to approval of consent items. Is there a motion to approve the consent items as presented by the superintendent?
Go ahead.
So moved.
Mr. Hamrick has made the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Mr. Hoag has seconded the motion.
I lost my sheet.
Is there any discussion?
Yes. On page 8, It says down here, under purchased services, other, water and sewage, says on the years to date, our utilities is $158,986. Our cleaning is $294,000.
Are
I'm
you on
just
the
curious
unpaid
why,
bills?
why is our cleaning almost 300,000 and our utilities are 150,000? I'm just like, what are we
Okay, tell
cleaning?
me what page you're on
It
again.
was on page 8,
Of
under the
the-
schedule and expenditures on the cash basis. And it was like, page 8 says, purchase services or other, at the bottom. Says, water and sewage. And if our utilities is 150,000, cleaning is 300,000, which just seems absurd to me.
I don't see page numbers, that's why I'm not sure.
I don't see it either. I just counted
Just let me
down.
look at it and
No,
see.
I
I
just
should
counted
have brought the
down.
paper with me.
I just counted down.
Okay, so this is in, let's see.
Todd, I can't get in the main screen now. I just can't win.
So now what was your?
That one went dead,
The utilities, 158.
and I turned this one to this one.
Well, cleaning has, where we contract with, K&M to do the fields.
What
I
fields?
need to see the actual number.
Right, it just seems really high to me.
Let me get you something on that, how about?
Okay.
That way I won't tell you wrong. Just make sure.
What fields?
My
do we
guess is
contract with
there's a
A&M?
scope issue
It's not
of
that
what
much,
cleaning
it's not
actually
that.
encompasses.
Right, and that's where,
And I
like,
think that, we'll clarify that.
I just, it
It
just
might
seems,
be something to do with the custodial.
I would guess that it is.
But let me look
Okay.
at the number part, not just, these just show you titles, I'm used to
Right.
seeing account codes, and I'm not quite sure what that's referring
yeah,
to.
but if we could just give me something next meeting.
I'll
I'd
shoot it
appreciate
out to you, I'll shoot it out to everybody.
Well, what do we contract K&M for the fields?
They come during, I think football, Jimmy, tell me what I'm saying, football and
During,
track?
well, during the fall sports and when they utilize and it's been like this for years, when they utilize the outdoor, football stadiums, when there is an event, 3,000-4,000 people in the stadium.
We've never had that.
And there's a lot of garbage, so they actually do just the cleanup of the garbage and then haul it all away.
It's been like that for as long as I've been
Yeah.
here.
Well, first, it'd be wonderful if we had 3,000 or 4,000 people at a venue. I mean, I
We
would
only
be,
spend, we only
Maybe
spend about,
over-embellished.
well, we only spend about 13,000 for K&M,
That was
so
back
that's
when you
not
coached.
what
Was
this is.
back when
Back
we
when you
played.
Oh, it's for those big time.
well, the only reason why I'm asking
When
is
Jimmy was
because
playing,
when I
4 or
used to
5
be there
years.
afterwards, I saw all the janitors picking it up.
And those roll
I'm not
around.
gonna lie.
They didn't come all the time, they only come certain times, I'm not sure how that exactly works.
Yeah, it's like
It's not even every game, I don't think, it's just after.
Yeah,
big
because
games.
I've been at the games, I see the janitors taking away the garbage,
Yeah.
and
Well,
so-
they do especially when the garbage cans fill up. But there's a good bit of garbage. I know over the years, the K&M that's been a service that they'll come in and they provide that. And it's usually after a Friday night event. So that's usually a larger football game. By the end of the week, you've had sometimes in the venues there, maybe 7 or 8 games in a week between middle, high, and then youth.
I think
So-
that's
But I think
also
it's
our,
gonna
I think that's
look-
also, now that I'm looking at it, I think that's also our garbage, that's all of our garbage pickup, like waste management,
Cleaning?
Better schools.
is that what you're talking
Because
about?
you're
That's what-
saying we
that's
only
what
pay
it's for.
K&M, what?
yeah, it's only
13,000?
13,000.
So that
But when I'm
wouldn't make
looking at what else is under this, I'm used to seeing numbers, not verbiage, but the cleaning, I believe, is our, because it's 622,000. I think it includes our garbage pickup, our K&M and our enterprise and our, whoever our garbage.
Your waste management.
Waste management, not K&M, waste
It just seems
management,
so
enterprise.
excessive
But that's
if our
all.
utilities is that much, to be so much more than our utilities, is just the cleaning. which
Well,
is-
that's the garbage pickup at all of our schools. Like,
Did
just
we have
regular
any
garbage.
larger,
So we're spending on this,
dumpster rentals for any
Probably
construction?
$600 some thousand on garbage.
Well, like,
yes.
probably,
really?
yeah.
John,
We
did
have big
get the-
dumpsters at every
Bridgeport,
school. I mean,
Johnson.
But we've probably had some bigger
We
ones
have a
for
lot of
construction.
And we say 6 hours for a year.
yeah, for a year, yeah.
But a lot of our schools get picked up at least 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
and they have those, some of the
The
schools have
dumpsters.
more than one big dumpster.
And they generate a lot of garbage.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what that is.
I don't think it's out of line. I think that once we maybe clarify that for you, Michael, it'd make it a little clearer.
It just jumped out at me.
Yeah, it does, but I think it's a scope thing, and we'll get that information.
I'll tell you for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's a garbage.
Okay,
I have my budget.
no further.
All right, if there are no further questions or any further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, item B, out-of-state travel study request. Is there a motion to approve the out-of-state travel study requests as presented?
So moved.
Mr. Hoag has made the motion to approve out-of-state travel study requests. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Doherty has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Under new business, we have item A, grades K through 5, social studies adoption. Is there a motion to approve the grades K through 5 social studies adoption textbooks, instructional program, as presented by the superintendent?
So moved.
Mr. Hoag has made the motion to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Hamrick has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion?
Are we still just getting books where we haven't transferred anything onto our tablets? We're doing,
We do, it's all part of, they bundle it all together
okay.
as a package.
I just think the more we move in that direction, it's help our
We
students.
just basically adopt classroom sets that are hard copies, and the rest we utilize the iPads as much as we can.
Okay.
I noticed a couple counties moved completely away from iPads back to the books.
Well, you're paying so much, you're paying about the same amount of money for the license to use the electronic versions as you do to buy the books,
Yeah, there's no
or
second.
more.
Right, I'm just saying, we're getting into it, the technology age, the more they get used to operating. I mean, my kid, my 6-year-old.
Oh, no,
he's
you're
a wizard.
100%
Generally,
right.
what happens
You're
is,
100%
like
right.
he says, they're bundled, you can't pay one amount for one, books come with it, they're gonna give you both.
Mm.
You know, you're buying a set, so you're getting the book and the electronic.
Okay.
All right, is there any further discussion or, no further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. No old business, no policy updates, brings us down to personnel matters. Is there a motion to approve the personnel matters as recommended by the superintendent
So moved.
with
Well-
Mr. Hoag's recusal?
Recused because, my sister-in-law is in the retirement, she's in the sub-list, and she's also on, lunch duty.
Is there a motion to approve noting Mr. Hoag's recusals?
So moved.
Mr. Doherty has made the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Hamrick has seconded the motion. Is there any further discussion? No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, this brings us down to the adjournment of the meeting tonight.
Could I request a special meeting? Is this the time when I do
Yeah,
it?
sure.
I'd like to, we need to get together and get some of our extracurricular activities in line. And it's been discussed before, and I would like to know if we could schedule a special meeting, or not even a special meeting, not of the board, but I would like a committee formed.
And we talked about it today, Mrs. Stutler and Dr. Haig, and as part of our discussion today, when she brought the numbers in, I've asked him to co-chair, and
And you wanted to be on that committee, right?
I want to be on that committee,
She'll-
but I
she'll be
didn't
on it.
know if we had to put it,
Well, what they'll do is they'll study it, and then we can call a meeting, a special meeting, and then
When
they'll
we have
bring
the
us a
information,
recommendation
we'll
when
make
they have the
you'll be on
information.
the
But we will meet,
Okay.
well, the special meeting, will we meet before we have the special meeting to bring it back to everybody?
now, what is that?
Well, if they're gonna co-chair, then she's going to be on the committee, I'm gonna be on the committee, and I guess you're gonna
I'll
be
be
there.
there. Mhm.
And Mrs. Hinkle, I guess.
I'm not sure if I have Mrs. Hinkle.
Well,
I'll just run numbers.
She wasn't mentioned.
Her name never came up today at all.
well, anyway, I mean, will we meet and get a preliminary and
Yes,
then
well,
have
We
a
could,
special
we
meeting.
could we could do a preliminary workshop if you want.
Yeah, preliminary,
It's the board's
Preliminary-
call. When
preliminary
we have a little
workshop.
something to present to you, I'm gonna ask that they collect the data, collect the information, get information from the coaches, ADs, all that, and all that. Yeah. and
May I ask a question? Is this for budget or is this for the new excess levy call? Just so that I know.
Well,
This is because of their inequity, their.
But are we gonna make the changes with this coming budget, or
That's
are
how I
we
saw
waiting
it.
to make the changes with the next excess?
Some
There's
numbers and
just a
things.
lot of things
Possibly
that
both.
have been brought to our
Yeah,
attention now.
that hasn't been
There's a whole
discussed yet,
group.
Okay.
whether
You
we're
know,
gonna do
once
this budget season,
we figure
or if it's
out how
going to
much
be
it's
next
gonna
year
cost.
at the levy call.
That's
Yeah.
why I
Well, we were
mentioned
trying
it
to
right
get
now
some
to get
sense
everyone.
from-
But and I'm
So-
sure.
Because the natural progression, when we do
and
a
all that,
lot of
'cause then
changes
all
to
the
extra
coaches are
curricular, we
gonna
usually
want
do it
this.
Well,
with the
levy
levy
would
call.
be the levy.
Somewhere
That
down the
way
line,
the
we'd have to
coaches
do
work
that,
with it.
somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
Mr.
Because
President,
Somewhere down the
if we
line.
reduce
I mean,
it,
we're
then
opening it
maybe
up.
You should
I
be
don't
on the
think it
committee.
first.
Well, if you reduce
I think
anything, you have
You
to
look and see if we
rivet
come
it,
up with numbers,
so
and then.
it's only gonna cost
talk-
more.
So you
That's
want it
the
just
only reason I'm
in-house?
saying.
You
Yeah,
just want
yeah.
to
I don't
do
understand
You
what
need to
you're
build the
saying.
cost into
And then go.
levy, it's
Okay.
gonna be. a
See, that doesn't take
significant
board
cost.
action, I'll just
Then
make
you
that
need to
happen.
be
Right,
at the committee.
right, that's what I'm saying.
Mr. President, I do have one other thing, is, something we talked about at our last meeting was, reviewing, the, superintendent's evaluation, trying to find some other one. I don't know if that's something that we need to
Yeah,
get
so
set in motion or
I
have
was,
Dr.
I
Manchin
was
look.
under
or-
the impression that when we had left the meeting, Mr. Hogan asked me to contact a couple of the other
Okay, I didn't
counties
know
to
if
see
you
if
did
we
it
can
or
get
we,
there.
we
No, I
directed
haven't, I haven't reached out yet.
Okay, that's all, I just didn't know if we had to bring that up at a meeting.
And
No.
like I said, we're in February, so we got till, as long as we have something by
July 1st.
July first at the board of the state, so I think.
And when I get those examples from the other counties, I think maybe we can call a special meeting
Yeah, and then do preliminary.
to present that.
Okay.
Show you guys what
I just
exactly.
didn't know, I know we all felt strongly about doing that, so I just didn't know.
Yeah.
All right.
So have you guys scheduled the meeting?
What meeting?
Actually, what we're going to do,
Committee
me-
meeting?
what we are going to convene a meeting in-house.
And I do want
And I-
Sharon there because she was just trying to explain some things that,
I have no opinion, just money dollar questions.
yeah, she was just
Well, then
explaining.
good, you
that
deal
needs
with
to
it.
be
Well, I think
there.
that would be the second part, after you come up with your plan. Then
Why don't you
can
let,
share
why
that.
don't you let me sit down and get everything worked out, and I'll get with you.
Okay.
You
Okay.
have your people call our people.
I'll have my peeps call your peeps.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
All right, motion has been made to adjourn by Mr. Doherty. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Messenger has seconded the motion. Is there any discussion?
We'll call you.
No discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Children of peace, go in
So-
peace.
I'm crying,